In this video, I interviewed my coaching student Kim on how she was able to go zero to over $40,000 a month in Amazon sales in just a few months. So make sure you stick around through the entire video. There's a ton of gems shared on finding success quick with online arbitrage. As well, Q4 is getting started soon. So if you're interested in working directly with me to have the best Q4 possible, consider applying for my coaching program at the link in the description. Let's get right into the video. What's up, Kim? Welcome to the channel. It's been awesome to see what you've done the past couple months, and we want to help the people do the exact same thing. So prior to us getting into it, you just want to introduce yourself, where you're from, experience, what made you want to get into Amazon, that sort of thing.
Sure. So I am currently living in Tennessee. I'm kind of from New England originally, but we lived all over. Traveled the United States for a couple years, and now we're sort of settled. I started out as an engineer, but didn't love that. So I switched into digital marketing. I've been doing that for 10 years and really wanted to do something that was me working for me instead of me working for someone else. And so I kind of fell into Amazon. I am in the start of my third month now of selling on Amazon. So super exciting.
Yeah, and then so for the second month, what did you end up at revenue-wise and profit-wise?
Yeah, so my second month, we did really well. My goal number for revenue was like 25K. My stretch goal was 30K. We ended up doing 47K,
Cool.
which I think is just like a testament to me, like being so worried that we couldn't hit 25K that I just like kept hitting it so hard. Like it was for sure a hustle. But that's like a huge amount of growth from our first month, which we did 10K, which is also like a lot. So it's just like getting started.
Yeah, I mean, the more you do, the more you realize you can do. What I think is neat about your story is that I think a lot of people get into starting a business to try and live a fairly unconventional lifestyle, right? To kind of have time freedom, location freedom, etc. You have been able to build that for yourself for a while, right? Being traveled, right? Living not where you used to live, etc., and just working for yourself for a while. So you were nicely situated, kind of similar to the way I was to get into stuff. And luckily, a lot of people doing this either haven't had that yet, but really want it, great motivation to do it, or have already had it. And that's an easier segue into Amazon as well, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we have, like I said, we did travel full time for a long time, and I have an almost 5-year-old. So for me, there's just a ton of motivation for us to be able to keep him at home. We really want to do homeschooling and let him learn at his own pace. And it's just been great. Like he helps with the business. I can't imagine him getting a better possible education on like how to actually like find a job that he likes someday than watching me and my husband like hustle and do it. So that I think has been phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I think especially too, what I think is neat is that you don't just do online arbitrage, right? People, when they're getting into this, they want to be super tied to one thing, right? Should I do retail or should I do online? Should I do wholesale or should I do online, etc.? Can you describe the kind of hybrid model you've built the past couple of weeks?
Sure. Like I'm doing all three. So I would say I'm probably like, at this point, I'm probably like 40% online arbitrage. I'm probably like 50% retail. And then I have like 10% that I've been dabbling in from a wholesale perspective. And those are just really tests. I'm starting out. But I think learning all three at once, the skills are so complementary, a little different, right? There's nuances to different things, but it really has helped me ramp up much faster than I think I would have been able to if I had just done one or even just two, because I'm getting all three. And the retail piece has been great because we can go to the store, we have the product in our hand, and we ship it out literally the next day. Like there is no possible faster way to move our money around and cycle our cash flow in order to get the most out of it. And so like those kinds of products are we're typically doing a lot of like health and beauty items. And once they get checked in at Amazon, like some of them could be gone that day. They fly so fast. So like, it's just been phenomenal to help ramp up that growth much quicker than we could have been able to do it with online. Because sometimes like a website won't ship a product for like a week. You don't even get it, like it takes a lot longer.
Yeah, because you get that tangible benefit, right, of seeing the
Hmm.
product sell quicker, but you also, and just more money, etc. You get
Right.
the intangible benefit of learning a lot quicker, though. Because
Hmm.
what's interesting is you actually live in a fairly rural area, if I'm not mistaken. So
Very rural.
exactly, theoretically, should have it harder with retail arbitrage
Yeah.
than most people, just statistically, that live in probably the suburbs of a major
Yes,
or in a major city, right?
for
So
sure.
in terms of just getting started with the retail arbitrage side of things, because you guys will hear me get louder and louder about this the next couple months. What did that look like just initially getting rolling? Do you just go in and do you scan everything, or do you watch YouTubers and kind of have an idea of what to look for? What do you think with that?
Yeah, so I watched a lot of YouTubers just to get an idea of like what to do. And it's funny because I thought that I like really needed to get into one of those bolo groups and like that I needed like some list of things to do. I I bought into one of those and I wish that I'd saved my $80
Whatever.
because it was such a waste. I'm like, that's just not how it works. You go in the store and you scan and you learn and you keep looking. Um, and try and find the item that has the best rank that you can make profit on. And like multi-packs are your friend, especially in health and beauty space. Like we do a ton of toothpaste. It's not sexy, but you know what? That shit sells. Like
Yeah, and
that
it's small.
everybody buys it.
Yeah,
Like,
everyone buys it. The data is really clear because there's not really variation. You can get
yeah,
a ton in one box. Like I was at Marshall's yesterday. I can literally see it from
it's
my
so
place here
funny.
in Miami. Like it's just a fact. If you go into your local Marshalls 3 weeks in a row, Sunday, 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 they'll put out new stuff. You are gonna find stuff that's profitable. Period.
Yeah.
You have to get and get it. Of course, is some stuff not going to sell as quick as you think it is? Of course, but
Right.
you just put one foot in front of the other day after day, and you can get good. Like I always see you
Hmm.
online, 7 a.m. in
Yes.
you and I, right? And then there's one
It's
other,
like you and me, and like that's it. Like
yeah,
it's
so on the East Coast,
crickets.
right?
Yes.
Exactly. And then in terms of obviously, you've picked this up a lot quicker than most people do. How do you see this evolving over like the next year? Do you think it's mainly going to be wholesale eventually, or how do you see this fitting in?
Yeah, so I'm actually 5 months pregnant right now. So like I will be trying to do a lot more wholesale coming into the winter just because I'm gonna have a newborn. But I've also been teaching my husband, which is funny because I've just been teaching him. Like he hasn't gone through any of your classes. He hasn't watched a single recording of you, other than like the ones I showed him when I first was getting into it. But like he hasn't done any of that. Like he doesn't know how to do it on the computer at all, but he knows how to do it on his phone. So he can actually go to retail and like do retail probably by himself, which I don't think I'd want to do retail by myself because it's a lot. Like we usually have like 2 or 3 carts of stuff. Like it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he could actually continue to do that. So we'll keep doing retail because the ROI on retail is like so good. I don't, I think you would ask me what my profit number was, and I totally forgot to tell you. Like, we did almost like a 20% margin in our second month, which is phenomenal. It was like $9,000 in profit. And that's largely because of the retail margins being so good. Usually, when we go and do a retail run, it's usually Ollie's. We've done Marshalls, we've done a bunch of other stores, but what works the best is Ollie's bargain outlet, and it's usually like 100% ROI. Like almost every shipment we send in with Ollie's is like we spent $1,000 and we make $1,000 in profit. Like it's hard to say no to going into a store, spending an hour, taking your $1,000 and turning it into $2,000. Like I would literally do that every day, all day long if I could. Like that's just like gold, right?
And you get a lot better over time too, in that it's hard to see when you start, but the
Oh,
first
for
time you
sure.
start, you got to scan everything fact, because you just have
Yes.
no idea. Over time though, you're like, okay, I've scanned this before,
Yes.
or I've
Yes.
scanned this before, but now I see the clearance tag on it, and
Hmm.
now it does make sense, right? The
Right,
concept
right, right.
of
Yeah,
time.
now we walk into the store and we're like, "Oh yeah, that's new, that's new, that's new. Scan those. Don't
Yeah.
even look at that." Like like you kind of build that knowledge over time. I remember the first couple of times I went in there and went and tried to do it, and I was like, "This is never going to work. I'm never going to do this." And I like almost gave up, but I'm super glad that I did it. Like you scan enough items, eventually you're going to find something that works, and then you
Yeah,
just build on that momentum.
yeah, because if you hit the same store a couple times, or say only once or twice,
Yeah.
right? It could be that unfortunately someone was there the day before you, right? And you're
I
seeing this
came I came and I cleared the shelves before you got
exact.
there, Miles.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And an interesting framework and difference between online and retail, I kind of just thought of that. I don't know how I kind of hadn't, right? like online arbitrage scales better. Just it's more delegatable, etc.
Oh
However,
yeah.
more confusing. Very, very rarely, because there's so much competition with online arbitrage compared to just your local retail store, is something just going to be profitable at the advertised price. Now,
Mhm.
everything that is good at a retail store is going to be good at the advertised price that it's shown
Mhm.
right there,
Right.
right? That makes sense. With OA, you need coupons, sales,
Mhm.
gift cards, etc. But with retail, it's kind of just the price is the price for the most part. I mean, maybe you can finagle a different discount or whatever, but
Yeah.
just the way the competition spread works in general as a blanket statement. That's why I think retail arbitrage is a lot more simple for most people, and a lot of people
Mhm.
should be doing it. And
I
everything.
mean, Ollie's does have an awesome rewards program, I will say, that it's 10% off coupons for every $250 you spend. Oh, Matt took them. He's out at the store. He might go.
Well, there we go.
But I
Perfect.
have like a stack of these coupons. I literally walk through the store and I hand them out like candy because there's more coupons than I can ever use.
Yeah, and that's good. You get that flywheel going. It's the exact same way.
Yeah.
In the past couple of days, one of my favorite retailers had a sale, and then I checked this morning, and they had sent me a good amount of rewards. And it's like, well, you really get the ball rolling, right? They're just
Yeah.
handing us extra profit right there, and that's that momentum you need to start building. That most people quit before they get. That you and
Right.
I, as beginners, me a couple of years ago, you recently have been able to build fast just by, I would say, honestly, pure obsession, right? And that like the
Oh,
more
yeah.
what you put in is what you get out, basically.
It's a hustle. I'm not like, to do 47,000 my second month, like that's a hustle.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because now I've built way more equity in my business than I could have otherwise, right? And that I just flipped that right into my next month and hopefully keep crushing it.
Yeah, and I like the angle of the retail arbitrage too, because when the ROI is higher, you can be a little bit more risky. You can
Mhm.
go lower velocity. You can leverage out a little bit more potentially, depending on risk tolerance and such. Basically with that as well. So you're obviously new, getting into Q4. What are your thoughts going in outside of obviously the pregnancy situation, which I think for this year it's
I
very
know.
good, right? And everything. But what are your thoughts going in? What's your game plan? Stuff like that, because a lot of people are asking about that recently.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I want to get to more like a bigger percentage that's wholesale. Which that's going to be interesting to figure out like how much to buy ahead of time because I'm not sure how fast you're going to get wholesale orders to you in Q4. So I have to figure that piece out. And then retail will still do because it's awesome and like
Yep.
people buy toothpaste in December too, right? Like it's still not sexy, but still sells every day. Like people got to brush their teeth. And then I think we'll also still keep doing a good amount of the OA and FBM. Like we did a ton of FBM on backpacks and back to school items um, during like that bigger rush in August. That definitely helped us get like a really good start. And I want to keep doing more of that. And like one of the things I think is great, even about retail, is that you can test things so fast. So this is going to sound weird, but like we found these stupid, like they're like Halloween gingerbread houses at Ollie's, which like I would be like, yeah, this is a
For
stupid
Christmas,
item.
the Christmas ones
Right?
are going to do well too, I
I
promise.
know. But
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a stupid item. Like, who's going to do this? And so we bought 12 and I shipped them in the next day. And they just started selling this past week and I'm already out of them. And based on what it says in Keepa, based on what it says in Seller Amp, like they don't move, right? Like you look at it and you're like, man, I don't think that's going to sell. But I bought 12. It was low risk. They're like $2 each. I've already sold 12. So we went back yesterday and I took home 30, like it's way faster to like.
And you didn't have to find the gross effort to get that
For
product like
sure.
skyrocketed lower.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was
For-
so much easier. And so I think the thing that's going to be critical for Q4 is just like doing some tests. Like sometimes, like, yeah, we can look at data all day long. And I'll be the first to tell you with my like engineering background that I could get bogged down in charts and graphs and trends and all that. But at the same time, like the best data is just like do it and test it, right?
Yeah.
Test it and see. Like
And
worst case, I was in on those 12 gingerbread houses for $24. Like big
yeah.
whoop, right? And now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get those at every single Ollie's I hit for the next 3 weeks and ship those in or FBM them or whatever and make a bunch of money.
There we are. And typically the answer, especially when you're new, is and not not or.
Right.
It's RA and OA. It's FBM
Oh
and
yeah.
FBA, not one or the other.
Yeah.
I think right there. And so, Kim, you're a rock star. Where can people go follow you on social media?
Yeah, so I am pretty active on my Instagram, mostly in stories. at Kim Kupka is me.
Check her out.
That's probably the best spot. I made a Twitter, but
Yeah,
can't
hey,
keep up
stay
with
hang
it.
out on one. The people, you know what I mean, and everything. That's good stuff. Well, I'm glad to know you, and hopefully we can do another one of these in the future with a lot bigger numbers. But this is a
Sure.
good example, the blueprint of what to do. Everyone go follow Kim on Instagram, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks, Miles.